In response to a video I did a couple weeks ago about some condos that I own, invested in, and now rent in the Hua Hin area, I got questions like, why'd you buy the condos? How the investments worked out? What's the process? And so a couple days ago, I happened to run across the announcement of the brand new building development in Hua Hin. It really caught my eye. If I had extra cash, I would actually buy into this development myself. I have no relationship with them, but it just caught my eye. So I'm going to use this example of this brand new condo development where it's just basically a empty lot right now. They're going to build a condo building there as an example, and kind of talk about that building, why I think that it's worth taking a look at, what's the process, and then as an expat, how do you invest in a condo? How do you buy a condo in Thailand or Hua Hin? So with that said, let's go take a look at the building. As you can see from the picture here, this looks like it's going to be a great location and a beautiful building. The condo name is Blue Whale. It was announced on November 9th, so just 4 or 5 days ago from the time that I'm filming this. The developer is Supalai, and I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly. It is spelled Supalai. And it's very important to know who the developer is. And I'm going to go into why when I talk about buying a condo like this, how to invest in it, what are the benefits, risk reward in the second half of this video. So maybe take notes of Supalai, Supalai. This building is going to be 28 stories. It's 525 units. It does not exist yet. So this is the architects, the developer, and an artist's rendering of what it's going to look like. It typically turns out to look about 95%, 90% of what they put in these renderings. And this one looks like it's going to be pretty nice. The condos are going to range from studios at the smallest end at 29.5 square meters, so pretty small, to a 3-bedroom at 128 square meters. And the prices start at 1.69 million baht, which is in today's currency exchange as of November 13th. That is 47,000 US dollars or 45,300 euro. So, if you were to, if I were to look at this building being built and it was off the west coast of California, for $47,000, it's just ridiculously cheap. Like off the west coast of the San Francisco area, you'd have to put, 2 zeros behind this. It would be, $4.7 million. And here in Hua Hin at this point, you can buy a studio for 47,000 US dollars, where if you wanted to, you could walk to the ocean. It may take you 20 minutes to get there, but you could walk to the ocean. Every condo is going to have a balcony and a sea view. So even on the low end, on a studio, again, $47,000. You're going to wake up, get your coffee, walk out on the balcony, and be able to see the ocean. Now, is every unit going to have great views of the ocean? Obviously, the higher you go up, the better view. But if you can see the ocean at all, that's good for resale value. So, very good. The amenities that are going to be included in this building is fitness center, co-working spaces, a nice pool, a kids adventure area, which is typically they build them off to the side of the pool. There'll be like a waterfall and slide things that the kids can play on, and nothing too extravagant. It's gonna have a waterfall and a jacuzzi, 24-hour security with CCTV, and they claim they're gonna have facial recognition for exiting and entering the building, and that each condo will have a digital door lock as well. So you can put on the digital door lock yourself anytime you want, but having that as a standard feature is nice. The digital door lock is nice so that you don't need to have a key. So you can go out, dinner, bar, come back, you just punch in your code. And then it's also great for renting to people, especially if you're doing 30-day rentals, for example. You give them the code, and that code only works on starting on one day and ends on another day, and so you don't have to deal with physical keys and handing those to renters and being there physically. So kind of nice. Now I'm going to give you an example of what it's like to invest in one of these condos. Now, the numbers that I give you are not going to be specific to Blue Whale. They're going to be, I'm going to just do a standard example of my experience in buying 4 condos in total that I have in Hua Hin, because I bought them early on, and 2 of them when they were just basically just a dirt lot. And so there's advantages and disadvantages to doing this. So in this sample, I'm going to just guess that this is a 3-year condo project to build this building before you can actually take ownership of it and then move in. And for this sample, I'm also going to use a sale price of 1.8 million Thai baht, which is around 50,000 US dollars, just to make the math real easy. So you can get a unit for as cheap as 47,000, but in this sample, I'm going to use 50,000 to make the numbers even. When you buy a condo in Thailand as an expat, the minimum down payment is going to be 30%. And it could be as high as 40%, 50%. It depends upon the risk that the developer, the bank is willing to take on, but you can pretty much guarantee that you're going to have to put down at least 30% that before you can take ownership of the condo. So on a $50,000 condo unit, 30% will come out to be $15,000. Now, the advantage of the fact that this building is an empty plot of land and it could take up to 3 years for this thing to build, that gives you 3 years to put down 15,000. So let's say the initial reservation payment is 3,500 US dollars for you to have your name reserved on that unit. And that would leave you with a balance of $11,500 that you have to pay over the 3 years before you can take ownership. So 11,500 divided by 36 months comes out to be $320 a month. So over that 3-year time period, you put your 3,500 down, you pay $320 a month, and you would now have your $15,000 down payment already. So when you went to the bank or you went to pay this thing off, then you would already have equity into this condo. So at the end of a 36-month payment plan, your balance would be $35,000 in this example. So as an expat, what are your options? So option number 1 is that you just simply pay $35,000 in cash. You don't even need a Thai bank, and you now owe 0 on this unit. And that cash could be cash from your bank account, but it also could be that you've taken out a business loan or a regular loan, or you've taken out cash advances on credit cards in your own country. The developer doesn't care, or the bank doesn't care, Thailand doesn't care where that money came from, as long as it came from outside of Thailand. So if you want to pay cash and take complete ownership of it with no Thai bank financing, that's up to you. Now, if you want to obtain a mortgage, then there's a couple key factors on getting a mortgage from a Thai bank as an expat. And that is that, 1, they will not mortgage you past 60 years old. So if you're 40 years old and you went and reserved this unit and you have 35 grand, then the longest loan term you can get is 20 years. If you're 50 years old, the longest loan term you can get is 10. If you're 55 years old, then it's 5 years. If you're 61, 62 years old, well, you're not going to be able to get financing. So you're going to have to figure out a way to either just pay cash or get financing from your home country. Now, if you did get a 10-year mortgage, let's say you're 50 years old and you got a 10-year mortgage from a bank in Thailand, you're now going to have to get a mortgage for $35,000. And at the interest rates of today, it's fairly low. The Thai economy is pretty weak, so the loan rates are probably going to be like 3-4%, and that would equate to a loan payment of around $325 a month for your principal plus your interest for the 10 years. So, still a great price. Now, all condos have a homeowners association fee, and they range from what I've seen anywhere from around $20 to about $300. So I have one condo that's 20, I have one that's $25 per month, and then I have 2 that are $275 per month for each condo. Now, just looking at this building, I'm going to guess at 525 units that the HOA is probably going to start somewhere around $30 or $40. And just something to keep in mind. So, not going to stop you from buying a condo, but you do want to understand the HOA fee. Now, what is the risk reward of this example of paying monthly payments for 3 years? Well, one is that upon taking ownership, after paying $15,000 down, if your condo went from $50,000 to $65,000 in value over that 3-year time period, what that would mean is that you put $15,000 down, pretty much interest free, and you now have equity of $30,000 in your unit on the day that you take ownership of it. So you put down 15, you've got 30,000 in equity. That's a pretty good return, and one that I would highly recommend. And your worst case payment is that it's going to be, with principal, interest, and HOA for a $50,000 unit, about $385 a month, which means that if you didn't want to live there for like 3 or 4 or 5 years, you took ownership of it, you're making these payments, well, just Airbnb it out. So find an expat that wants to rent for a decent price for a year, and charge them $400, and your condo is free for that year. So, pretty good investment there. So what is the risk? Well, one is that the developer, you have to make sure the developer has strong financials, because they can go bankrupt. And I'm not aware of any developer going bankrupt on a condo building in Hua Hin. I think the market's strong enough there for new developments. Now, if you drive around Bangkok long enough, you're going to see empty building where it's just steel structures, and that's left over from the financial collapse from a while ago. But, could that happen again? It's quite possible. So, if you're going to put $15,000 over 3 years, then you have to be prepared that there is let's say a 1%, 2% chance that a major fiscal collapse happens, whether it's worldwide or if it's the Thai baht or whatever it is, and the developer just goes bankrupt and stops developing it. So very small risk in Hua Hin. In fact, it may even be zero in Hua Hin, but you just want to make sure that check out the developer, look at what they've built already in Hua Hin or Bangkok, and make sure that they've completed projects, that the owners have given, really good reviews, and that they've been a good investment. This building looks like it's going to be fairly high end, so I think it's probably going to be a good developer. I haven't looked at them myself. The second risk is that if the developer has sort of mediocre, low quality, then what can happen after, let's say you take ownership of it, and then 5 years later, all of a sudden, they find that there's windows on the outside of the building that start to crack all over because the foundation has moved a little bit. Now, all of a sudden, the costs they burden the HOA, and your $35 a month HOA payment now goes to $50, $70, could go, much higher than that. And so you just want to make sure if the developer's quality, then you're probably not going to run into these issues. The HOA rising over time, due to inflation, is acceptable, but you don't want it to like triple and quadruple because the developer took a lot of shortcuts and ends up burdening, the HOA costs. And then the last thing to consider is just, could you have done better investing in, Apple stock or the stock market in general, or real estate in your own country? The reality is that, like for me, like if I would have put money starting back in like 2002 when I started buying condos there, had I invested in property in Northern California, for example, I would have done much, much better. Now, if I went back in time, would I have done it? I probably still would have invested in Hua Hin, just because I already had decided like this is where I want to retire. I'm a big golfer, awesome golf courses. And so for me, it was sort of like a hobby, and it was just a low payment over time each month. And I'm not worried about, whether these condos are going to like double or triple. So if they do, great. But I don't think I'd be buying property in Hua Hin because you think it's going to, go up fivefold. Now, what is the reward of buying a condo in Hua Hin? So one is that Hua Hin is a great location itself, but this condo is in a great location. So, in fact, I'm going to put the map up here. So, as you can see from the map here, that this is, I'm going to say it's probably about a 20-minute walk to the ocean just by, looking at it. It is, it looks, it's 1 mile drive to the big sea. So I actually mapped out what it would, how long it would take to drive to the big sea. So, if you just owned a scooter, in 1 minute or less, you can get to a big sea. And big sea is Thailand's version of like a Walmart with a lot of grocery items, and so you can get pretty much anything you want at a big sea. So having one that locate in this location this close, and then if you look a little bit farther down to the southeast, you see that it's the night market. And so what it looks like is that it's probably about a 6 or 7 minute walk to get to the big sea. But to go to the night market, it's probably less than 15 minutes. So again, a great location. There's going to be restaurants. There's going to be a little bit of nightlife in this area, but 10, 15-minute walk, you're going to have all the nightlife around the market area, the night market, and it's going to be great for renting. So renters love to stay in areas like this because they don't want to have to rent a car. So they'll come in, rent, they might get a scooter, or they love bikes. And having that night market, having the big sea and some other things, that close, they're going to love it. So why Hua Hin? Well, one reason is because they're building the speed train from Bangkok to Hua Hin. So when I bought the first couple properties, I bought them without having any idea that they were ever going to build the speed train. But had I known, I probably would have bought more back in like 2002, 2003, because that's going to be just a no-brainer. Like, I have a condo on the east side of Bangkok, and for me to get to central Bangkok from that condo driving, it's like 90 minutes. And from what I've been told is the speed train from Hua Hin to get to central Bangkok is also going to be about 90 minutes. So I think what's going to happen over the next decade is there's going to be people that live in Bangkok that are actually going to move out to Hua Hin, so they have all the advantages of living in the Hua Hin town, just better lifestyle, better air quality, being by the ocean, and they're going to be able to just speed train into work and get, and go shopping, do what they need to do, and then speed train out. And it's just going to make it even that more popular for people to fly into Bangkok, jump on a train, fly out to Hua Hin on the train, 5-10 minute ride from the train, get to their condo unit. It's just, that's going to be incredible. The other thing is that the Hua Hin airport is expanding. So right now, Hua Hin, in terms of commercial, AirAsia flies from Hua Hin to Chiang Mai. And I did a video on this just a couple of days ago that you can check out on the Hua Hin airport plans. Now, because of COVID, they shut down the route to Udon Thani, but that, if it hasn't started up yet, that's going to start up again soon. They used to fly from Hua Hin to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and Kuala Lumpur is an awesome place to visit. Malaysia is incredible. So when that starts up again, that's just going to be another boost. And you're going to have people from Malaysia be able to fly directly into Hua Hin, another great thing for rentals. And then according to their plans in an article I read last week, they're going to actually add Jakarta, Indonesia. Now, if you've never been to Jakarta, I love Jakarta. It's a great place for Western people to go visit, incredible nightlife. I love Indonesia. And that also means it's going to be easy access to Bali, because you'll be able to fly from Hua Hin to Jakarta and then Jakarta to Bali. And Bali's incredible. So I'm super excited about those additions coming in the next year or two. The third reason why Hua Hin is that because the King's Palace and the Navy reside in Hua Hin. And what this means is that the government is not going to let this place fall apart. So they're always going to be putting money into, like, the speed train, for example, the airport, the highway, the roads, and they're never going to let this place go. So very, very good for long-term property resale and retirement. So it's always going to be safe. The fourth reason, I'm a big golfer, so the fourth reason is because it's the golfing capital of Thailand. Any direction you drive, you're either going to hit an ocean or you're going to hit a golf course. So there's 5 courses that I would consider to be like championship style. There's 10 courses in total that are like, top of the line, where people would, from Europe come in, play these courses. And there's probably 12 to 15 courses in total within like 30 kilometers. And they just seem to keep building, new courses and better courses. So if you're a golfer, it's a no-brainer. And then having access to the Bangkok airport. So especially when the speed train's there. Already I love, I just don't mind, like if I wanted to go to Jakarta, for example, and taking a 3-hour drive to get to the Bangkok airport to fly to Jakarta, still it's already great. But when they build the speed train, having access to the Bangkok airport is just going to be that much better. The other thing is Hua Hin, its popularity is just growing. So it took me about 3 or 4 videos on Hua Hin that I released before I really realized, like, wow, there's a lot of people putting out videos on Hua Hin about vacationing there, retiring there. And so this is a great sign that Hua Hin itself is becoming very popular, and the speed train is only going to accelerate that. So the next is that Hua Hin seems to avoid flooding issues. So over the last like 15 years, there's been 2 massive floods that have hit Bangkok really bad. And I think that's another reason why some people are going to end up moving from Bangkok out to Hua Hin, just because the flooding. But there's a little standing water in Hua Hin from these 2 massive floods, but it handled it pretty well. And so I think that's a good sign that Hua Hin is very good land in terms of avoiding these flooding issues. The 8th reason is that it's just easy for English-speaking expats to retire long-term. So I would say actually on average that there's probably more Thais that speak English in Hua Hin than there are in Bangkok. I mean, obviously Bangkok's huge, so there's more people that speak English, but on average, I'm going to guess that there's probably more people in Hua Hin because they cater to Europeans, Americans, and Australians and New Zealanders that come in. And so restaurants and shopping malls, a lot of English, at least enough for you to be able to communicate, order food, and buy things that you want. And the last is that for a Western English-speaking person, that there's a high-end hospital there, and these are like 4 or 5-star, hotels for some of them. And the doctors, most of them graduate from universities in the U.S., and for some reason, their equipment seems to be way better than what I see in a U.S. hospital. In fact, even the dentist, like if you go to the Blueport Mall, there's probably going to be 3 or 4 dentist offices, and I've gone to the dentist there at the Blueport Mall. Not only does the dentist actually, the one that cleans your teeth, but just the design, the architecture, everything about it, their equipment is like all brand new. So it just seems to be just better in general than what I've experienced in the U.S. on average. Then you have the Western restaurants and the bars and the people. So you're going to make friends with people from New Zealand, Australia, Norway, Germany, UK, US. And as an expat, it's just great because, so I love Thai food, and I can eat Thai food probably 99 out of 100 days, but it is kind of nice to be able to go get European or US style food and get that out of the way, and then go back to eating the Thai food. So, that's pretty much everything I had for, this particular Blue Whale condo unit. And again, everything I've said is not specific to that unit. It's just sort of general and based on my experience of investing in Thailand. I've had a really good experience myself investing in Thailand. I've chosen the right properties. I love what I own, and it's been a really good investment for me financially, as well as like emotionally, and just preparation for when I want to retire there. So for me, I bought more units than I figured that I would need, just because I figured worst case, getting rental income is going to be the way that I pay for my retirement. But that also, that if I wanted to sell a unit every couple of years and just get the cash injection and live off that it was just a great way for me to save money over time, that I wouldn't miss it. And every time I go to Thailand and look at the condos, I just, I have a sense of pride. I love it. I get to see a physical thing that I own, and I would recommend it. So it's just about making the right choice, picking the right building, and and if you're only going to buy one, then just make sure you buy it in the location that you want, that you think that you're going to be able to at least spend long vacations there or retire there. So hopefully you found this helpful. If I see another development pop up here soon, I'll do another video on it because they're kind of fun. And when I go to Thailand here within the next couple of weeks, I'll go check out this blue whale unit, take pictures of it, and see if I can get actual information from the office and provide even more information to people who might be interested. So hope you enjoyed this. Like the video, please subscribe, and I'm going to put out more content here real soon. Thank you.